Have you ever felt like you're running on a treadmill, putting in all the effort, all the energy, but ending up in the exact same spot? You have dreams, you have ambitions, but there's an invisible wall, a silent barrier that seems to hold you back. Maybe it's the sting of self-doubt, the constant hum of anxiety in the back of your mind, or the paralyzing fear of failure. You see others moving forward, achieving their goals, and you ask yourself, what do they have that I don't? The answer is simpler and yet more profound than you might imagine. It isn't luck. It isn't privilege. It is a power that resides within every single one of us, waiting to be unlocked. A power so potent it can reshape your reality from the inside out. This is the power of your mind. Today, we embark on a journey not to find something new, but to awaken something ancient and powerful that has been dormant within you. We will dismantle the architecture of defeat and build a new blueprint for success, peace, and fulfillment. If you're ready to make a change, stick with me. And if you find value in what you hear today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that can help you transform your life. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. The Architect Within. Your mind is the blueprint. Imagine an architect standing before an empty plot of land. In their mind, they can already see the soaring towers, the sunlit rooms, the grand hallways. They hold a blueprint, a detailed plan that dictates every beam, every window, every foundation stone. Nothing exists yet, but the blueprint is the promise of what will be. Your mind is that architect. Your thoughts are the blueprint, and the life you are living right now is the structure that has been built from that design. This is not a metaphor. It is the fundamental law of your existence. Thoughts are not fleeting, intangible wisps of consciousness. They are things. They are units of energy, dynamic and creative, buzzing with potential. Every thought you hold sends a vibration out into your life, attracting and creating conditions that match its frequency. Think of it like a tuning fork. If you strike a tuning fork tuned to the note of C, any other C-tuned fork in the room will begin to vibrate in sympathy. Your mind is constantly striking a note. Is it a note of lack, fear, and limitation? Or is it a note of abundance, courage, and possibility? A man I once knew, a software developer named Marcus, was brilliant at his job but perpetually stuck in a junior role. He watched colleagues with less skill get promoted year after year. He would complain, "I never get the opportunities. The company just doesn't see my value." But if you listened closely to his inner monologue, the real story emerged. Before every project, his mind would race with thoughts like, "What if I mess this up? I'm probably not the best person for this task. I'm going to get exposed as a fraud." He was an architect, meticulously designing a blueprint for mediocrity. His thoughts were a constant broadcast of insecurity, and his career simply reflected that broadcast back to him. The world in which you live is not primarily determined by your outward circumstances. It is determined by the thoughts that habitually occupy your mind. As the great philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson declared, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." You can, quite literally, think your way into failure and misery. You can dwell on past mistakes until they become a heavy chain around your neck. You can fixate on potential problems until they grow into insurmountable mountains in your imagination. This kind of thinking saturates your mind, creating an atmosphere of defeat that chokes out opportunity and drains your vitality. But the reverse is also gloriously, powerfully true. You can think your way to success and happiness. By consciously choosing to fill your mind with fresh, new, creative thoughts of faith, love, and goodness, you can actually remake your life. You can become the architect who tears down the old, crumbling shack of negativity and designs a magnificent skyscraper of achievement. This isn't about ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. It is about understanding that your attitude toward those problems is infinitely more powerful than the problems themselves. Think of your mind as a garden. For years, you may have unknowingly allowed the weeds of fear, resentment, and doubt to grow wild. They have choked the soil, blocked the sunlight, and prevented anything beautiful from blooming. The task now is not to curse the weeds, but to begin with intention, to pull them out, one by one. And in their place, you must plant the seeds of positive, life-giving thoughts. You must water them with belief. You must nurture them with daily attention. A young entrepreneur, Sophia, was on the verge of bankruptcy. Her small online boutique was failing. Her mind was a torrent of lack. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough customers. I don't have enough time. A mentor gave her a simple but profound piece of advice. For 1 month, he said, I want you to stop thinking about what you lack and start obsessively thinking about what you want to create. Instead of, I don't have enough customers, I want you to visualize your website flooded with orders. Instead of, I don't have enough money, I want you to thank the universe for the prosperity that is flowing to you. It felt foolish at first, but Sophia committed. She changed her blueprint. Slowly, miraculously, things began to shift. An idea for a new marketing campaign came to her in the middle of the night. A popular blogger discovered her store by chance. Small streams of revenue started to flow. Her mind, once a factory for producing failure, had been retooled into a power plant for success. So, the first and most crucial step on this journey is to accept this truth. Your thoughts create your reality. Your life today is a direct result of your thinking yesterday. Your life tomorrow will be a direct result of your thinking today. You are the architect. The blueprint is in your hands. The question is, what will you choose to build? Chapter 2. The Silent Saboteur, Conquering Self-Doubt and the Inferiority Complex. There is a voice that whispers in the quiet moments. It tells you that you are not good enough. It reminds you of every past failure, every awkward moment, every mistake. It points to others and says, see, they are smarter, more confident, more deserving. This voice is the silent saboteur, the insidious thief of dreams we call self-doubt. It often masquerades as humility or realism, but its true name is the inferiority complex, and it is the single most paralyzing force in the human experience. This feeling of profound inadequacy is a prison of our own making, but its bars feel as real as steel. How do we break free? The answer is not to fight the darkness, but to flood the mind with so much light that the shadows have nowhere to hide. The greatest secret for eliminating self-doubt is to fill your mind to overflowing with faith. Now, faith is a word that can mean many things. Here, we speak of two interconnected pillars of faith. The first is a tremendous faith in a power greater than yourself. Call it God, the universe, the source, or divine intelligence. It is the belief that you are not alone, that a benevolent and creative force is with you, supporting you, and guiding you. The second pillar, which grows directly from the first, is a humble yet soundly realistic faith in yourself. Not an arrogant ego, but a deep-seated knowledge of your own inherent worth and God-released powers. So how do you acquire this dynamic faith? It begins with deliberate, disciplined practice. Consider Liam, a talented graphic designer who was haunted by imposter syndrome. Despite receiving praise for his work, he lived in constant fear of being found out. Every new project felt like a trial where he would finally be exposed as a fraud. His self-doubt was a heavy cloak he wore every day. His therapist suggested a simple daily practice. Each morning, before checking his email or looking at his phone, Liam was to spend 5 minutes practicing a simple affirmation. He was to repeat out loud, "God is with me, God is helping me, God is guiding me." At first it felt absurd. The words were hollow, but he persisted. He started visualizing a warm, supportive presence with him as he spoke. He began to imagine this guiding force flowing through his hands as he designed. Day by day, week by week, a subtle shift occurred. The constant chatter of the saboteur in his mind began to quiet down. When a challenging client request came in, instead of his usual panic, a new thought emerged. "I can handle this. I am guided." He was filling his mind with a new thought pattern, and it was starving the old one of doubt. This practice is incredibly powerful. Spend several minutes each day visualizing the presence of a higher power. Then, go about your day on the assumption that what you have affirmed and visualized is absolutely true. Act as if you are guided. Act as if you are supported. The release of power and confidence that this simple procedure stimulates will astonish you. Another incredibly effective tool is the deliberate re-education of your mind through positive suggestion. If your mind is obsessed by thoughts of insecurity, it is because you have fed it those thoughts for years. It's time to change its diet. Think of the traveling salesman from the original story, a man whose mind was a swamp of fear and defeat. His work suffered because he approached every customer expecting failure. His genius was in his plan. He created a set of small cards with powerful, faith-filled affirmations. "If you have faith, nothing shall be impossible unto you. If God be for us, who can be against us?" He clipped one to the dashboard of his car each day. While he drove, instead of letting his mind wander into the familiar ruts of worry, he actively crammed it full of these powerful, life-giving ideas. He was literally rewiring his brain. He changed his thought processes, and in doing so, he changed his entire life and business. You can do the same. You don't need a car dashboard. Your phone's lock screen, a sticky note on your bathroom mirror, an hourly alarm with a positive reminder. The tools are everywhere. Go through books, poems, or scriptures and find the sentences that speak of courage, strength, and confidence. Underline them. Memorize them. Let them become the new soundtrack to your life. Feelings of confidence depend entirely on the type of thoughts that habitually occupy your mind. If you constantly fix your attention on dire events, the result is constant insecurity. But when you fill your mind with thoughts of faith, confidence, and security, you force out the thoughts of doubt and weakness. It is a simple law of displacement. You cannot hold two opposing thoughts in your mind at the same time. So here is your action plan to defeat the silent saboteur. First, create a mental picture of yourself as a success. See yourself as calm, confident, and capable. Hold this picture tenaciously. Never permit it to fade. Your mind will work tirelessly to complete the picture you give it. Second, whenever a negative thought about your personal power comes to mind, deliberately voice a positive thought to cancel it out. Think of it as a mental override. Third, make what you believe is a true estimate of your own ability, then raise it by 10%. Don't become egotistical, but develop a wholesome self-respect. You are more capable than you think. Finally, put yourself in God's hands. Simply state, I am in God's hands. Believe that you are now receiving all the power you need to meet life's demands. Remember, the silent saboteur thrives in the shadows of a faithless mind. Turn on the light. Chapter 3. The Power of the Picture. How to visualize your victory. Every great achievement in the world, from the humble smartphone in your pocket to the awe-inspiring cathedrals of Europe, first existed as an idea, a picture, in someone's mind. First came the idea, then faith in that idea, and finally, the means of implementing it. This is the unvarying formula for all creation, and it is a formula you can use to create the life you desire. This process, which we will call positive imaging or visualization, is one of the most powerful and misunderstood forces available to you. It is the act of creating a detailed, vivid, and emotionally charged mental picture of what you want to achieve, and holding that picture in your mind until it becomes a reality. This is not idle daydreaming. This is focused, creative work. People who assume success tend to have success. People who assume failure tend to have failure. Why? Because the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined. When you consistently picturize a desired outcome, you are conditioning your subconscious mind to accept it as fact. It then goes to work, orchestrating your thoughts, your actions, your intuition, and even opportunities in your environment to align with that picture. You begin to notice things you didn't see before. You come up with ideas that seemed out of reach. You act with a confidence that attracts positive results. Let me tell you about Sarah, a programmer who dreamed of leading her own development team but was terrified of public speaking. The thought of presenting her ideas in a meeting sent a cold wave of panic through her. Her mental picture was one of disaster, stumbling over her words, forgetting her points, seeing the bored or critical faces of her colleagues. And so, in reality, she remained silent in meetings, her brilliant ideas locked away. She decided to try visualization. Every night before she slept, she would spend 10 minutes creating a new mental movie. In this movie, she was at the head of the conference table. She saw herself standing tall, her voice clear and steady. She pictured her colleagues nodding, engaged, and impressed. She felt the thrill of confidence, the warmth of satisfaction after a successful presentation. She didn't just see it, she felt it in every cell of her body. After a few weeks of this practice, an opportunity arose. A project lead was sick, and someone needed to present the team's progress. To her own astonishment, Sarah's hand went up. As she walked to the front of the room, her heart was beating fast. But the dominant picture in her mind was not of failure, but of the successful movie she had been playing for weeks. She delivered the presentation with a clarity and confidence that shocked everyone, including herself. She had actualized the picture she held in her mind. The key is to make your mental image as real and detailed as possible. Don't just see a vague outline of success. Engage all your senses. If your goal is to buy your dream home, don't just picture the house. Mentally walk through the front door. Feel the cool smoothness of the kitchen countertop under your fingertips. Smell the scent of fresh-cut grass from the backyard. Hear the laughter of your family echoing in the living room. See the sunlight streaming through the windows. The more sensory detail you add, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind. But there is a crucial second step. After you have formed this vibrant picture, you must surrender it to a higher power. You must check it against God's will. This is a vital safeguard against selfish or misguided ambitions. You pray about it. You put the matter in God's hands and ask for guidance. This act of surrender doesn't weaken the process. It supercharges it. It aligns your personal desire with a universal creative force, ensuring that what you seek is for your highest good and the good of others. Then, you work. Visualization is not a substitute for action. It is the fuel for intelligent, inspired action. You hold the picture of your goal firmly in your mind while you work diligently, intelligently, and faithfully towards it. You do your part, and you trust that the universal power is doing its part. Think of the non-profit magazine from the original story, struggling and on the brink of collapse. They were saturated with thoughts of lack. A wise woman came and didn't give them money. She gave them a creative idea. She told them to stop thinking about what they lacked and start visualizing what they wanted. 100,000 subscribers. She made them see it, image it, feel it in their minds. She had them thank God for it, as if it were already a reality. From that moment of collective, faith-filled visualization, the enterprise never lacked for anything again. They printed the picture on their minds, and it was actualized as fact. So what is your mountain? What is the goal that seems impossible? Begin tonight. First, pray about it. Test it. Ensure it is a worthy goal. Then, create a detailed, vibrant mental picture of its accomplishment. See it, feel it, live in it for a few minutes each day. Hold that image firmly in your consciousness. Practice believing. Continue to work hard. Do this, and you will be astonished at the ways in which that which you have visualized comes to pass. You are printing a new reality onto your mind. Chapter 4. The Language of Success. Mastering the Art of Affirmation. If visualization is the act of creating the mental blueprint, then affirmation is the process of speaking that blueprint into existence. Words are not mere sounds. They are vessels of power. The words you speak and the words you repeat silently to yourself have a direct and profound effect on your emotional state, your beliefs, and ultimately, your reality. Mastering the art of affirmation is like learning the secret language of your own subconscious mind. An affirmation is a simple, positive statement, declared as if it is already true. It is a tool for re-educating your mind, for overwriting the old, negative scripts that have been playing on a loop for years. Thoughts of "I can't" or "I'm not worthy" are simply negative affirmations that you have practiced until they have become second nature. To change your life, you must consciously and deliberately practice a new set of affirmations. Imagine your consciousness as a fortress. For a long time, the gates have been left open, and thoughts of insecurity and inadequacy have wandered in and taken up residence. Affirmations are the loyal soldiers you post at the gate, challenging every negative thought and allowing only positive, powerful ideas to enter and fortify your inner world. It is possible, even in the midst of your busy daily life, to drive these confident thoughts into your consciousness. Let me tell you about a woman named Maria, a high school teacher who was constantly overwhelmed. Her inner monologue was a frantic buzz of, "There's too much to do. I'll never get it all done. I'm exhausted." It's like she was trying to run 20 browser tabs in her brain at once, and the system was constantly crashing. She decided to try a simple affirmation technique. She chose one powerful statement from the Bible: "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." She wrote it on a small card and taped it to her computer monitor. She set a recurring, silent alarm on her watch for the top of every hour. When the alarm vibrated, it was her cue. She would stop what she was doing, take one deep breath, and repeat the affirmation silently to herself 3 times. The first day, it felt like a pointless interruption. But by the end of the week, something had shifted. The hourly injection of strength was beginning to counteract the constant drip of stressful thoughts. When she felt overwhelmed, the affirmation would pop into her mind automatically, like a reflex. It became her anchor in the storm of her day. She didn't have fewer tasks, but she had more power to handle them. She was changing her mental language, and it was transforming her experience of her reality. For affirmations to be truly effective, they should follow a few simple rules. First, they must be positive. The subconscious mind doesn't really process negatives. If you say, "I will not be anxious," your mind focuses on the word anxious. It's far more powerful to affirm what you do want. Say, "I am calm and at peace." Second, they must be in the present tense. Don't say, "I will be confident." This keeps confidence in the future, always just out of reach. Declare, "I am confident and capable." You are telling your mind that this is the reality right now. Third, they should be personal and meaningful to you. While classic affirmations are powerful, feel free to create your own. If you struggle with finances, an affirmation like, "I am a magnet for prosperity and abundance flows to me easily," can be incredibly potent. If you're healing from an illness, "Every day, in every way, I am getting stronger and healthier," can work wonders. Fourth, they must be spoken or thought with feeling and belief. Merely repeating words mechanically has little effect. You must try to feel the emotion of the statement as if it were already true. When you say, "I am filled with vibrant energy," feel that energy coursing through you. This emotional charge is what impresses the idea upon your subconscious mind. This is a process of thought conditioning. It is simple, but it is not always easy. It requires discipline. You have spent years, perhaps decades, practicing negative thinking. Learning a new, positive pattern requires time and effort. But the results are nothing short of remarkable. You can literally change the person you are by changing the words you use to define yourself. Here is a practical exercise for you. Take a few minutes right now and identify one major area of your life you wish to improve. Is it your health, your career, your relationships? Now, craft a short, positive, present tense affirmation for that area. For example, if it's your career, "I am creative, productive, and highly valued in my work." If it's your health, "My body is a miracle of self-healing, and I am filled with radiant health." If it's your relationships, "I give and receive love freely and build harmonious connections with others." Write this affirmation down. Put it where you will see it often. For the next 7 days, commit to repeating it with feeling at least 10 times in the morning and 10 times at night. Challenge every old, negative thought about that topic with your new, powerful statement. This simple act is like planting a mighty oak in the garden of your mind. Nurture it, and it will grow to provide you with the shade and strength you seek. You are learning the language of success, and soon you will become fluent. Chapter 5. The Worry Plague. How to break the cycle of anxiety. Worrybaum. It's an unhealthy and destructive mental habit, a modern plague that infects the mind and sickens the soul. You were not born a worrier. You acquired the habit. And because it is an acquired habit, it can be broken. Fear is the most disintegrating enemy of the human personality. Professionals tell us that thousands of people are ill because of dammed-up anxiety. Unable to expel their fears, they turn them inward, where they fester and cause a host of ailments from headaches and fatigue to more serious conditions. The very word worry comes from an old Anglo-Saxon term meaning to choke, and that is precisely what it does. It chokes off your creativity, it chokes off your energy, and it chokes off the flow of spiritual power into your life. The worrier is a person who is slowly strangling themselves with their own thoughts. If you fear something continuously, you tend to create conditions in your mind that actually encourage its development. You give it your energy, your focus, your mental real estate. The Bible contains a line of terrible truth. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me. Of course it has. Fear is a form of faith, but it is faith in the negative. It is a powerful belief that things will go wrong. So how do we break this devastating habit? The antidote to fear is faith. Faith is the one power against which fear cannot stand. When you master faith, you will automatically master fear. To break the worry habit, you must systematically and deliberately replace thoughts of fear with thoughts of faith. The first step is a practice I will repeat again and again because of its profound importance. The daily emptying of the mind. Just as you would not allow garbage to accumulate in your home, you must not allow worry to accumulate in your mind. This is especially crucial before you go to sleep. The last 5 minutes of your waking state are extraordinarily important, as the mind is highly receptive to suggestion. The thoughts you hold then will sink into your subconscious and color your sleep and your waking state the next day. So before you retire each night, practice a mental catharsis. Go somewhere quiet. Close your eyes. And with creative imagination, conceive of yourself as actually emptying your mind of all anxiety and fear. You might picture a basin of murky water and visualize yourself pulling the plug, watching all the worries swirl down the drain until the water is crystal clear. As you do this, repeat a simple affirmation. With God's help, I am now emptying my mind of all anxiety, all fear, all sense of insecurity. Repeat this slowly 5 times. Then, thank God for freeing you from fear and go to sleep. This is not a one-time fix. This is a daily mental hygiene, as important as brushing your teeth. The second step is to attack the vast tree of worry by snipping off its smallest twigs. Reduce the number of worry words in your conversation. We are often shocked to realize how frequently gloomy little statements creep into our speech. I'm afraid I'll be late. What if the traffic is terrible? I just know this won't work out. Each one is a small seed of fear. Make a conscious decision to root them out. When a worry thought comes to mind, immediately cancel it with a faith expression. Instead of, I'm worried I'll miss the train, say a quick prayer for smooth travels and start getting ready a few minutes earlier. The uncluttered, faith-filled mind is a well-organized mind. A man who was once a tremendous worrier developed a simple but brilliant ritual that helped him break the habit. He was a businessman who was always rehashing the day's decisions, tormenting himself with doubts. At the end of each day, before leaving his office, he would go to the calendar on his wall. He would tear off the page for that day, roll it into a small ball, and ceremoniously drop it into the wastebasket. As he did, he would say a simple prayer. Lord, mistakes or successes, victories or defeats, the day is over and I'm through with it. I'm giving it back to you. What a magnificent act of release. He was cooperating with God's method of bringing down the curtain of night on each day. He dramatized the finishing of the day and set his face toward the future. His past mistakes and failures gradually lost their hold on him. He was released from the worries that accumulated from his yesterdays. You can create your own ritual of release. It could be journaling your worries and then closing the book on them. It could be a walk where you mentally leave your troubles behind with each step. The key is to consciously and deliberately let go of the day that is done. So here is your plan to conquer the plague of worry. 1. Practice the daily mental emptying. 2. Starve your worries by eliminating worry words from your speech. And 3. Create a daily ritual of release to let go of yesterday. Remember, faith and fear cannot coexist. Each time you choose a thought of faith, you weaken the grip of fear. It is a battle for your mind, but it is a battle you can and will win. Start today. Start now. Say to yourself, worry is just a bad mental habit. I can change any habit with God's help. And you will. Chapter 6. The Untapped Reservoir. Plugging into boundless energy. We all know people who seem to operate with an extra dash of energy. They handle immense responsibilities, tackle challenges with vigor, and still have vitality to spare at the end of the day. What is their secret? Have they discovered some hidden fountain of youth? In a way, they have. They have learned how to tap into the ultimate source of all energy. God is the source of all energy. The power that fuels the sun, that is locked within the atom, that surges through the electrical grid, it all derives from the same infinite creator. And that very same force, that divine energy, is available to you. The Bible says, "He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength." It also tells us, "In him we live and move and have our being." This means that your vitality, your dynamic life force, is a direct flow from this divine source. When you are in spiritual contact with God through your thoughts, this energy flows through you, renewing and recreating you moment by moment. It's not unlike a smartphone. When it's plugged into the power source, it operates at full capacity. Unplug it, and it runs on a limited, finite battery that eventually depletes. When we lose spiritual contact with our divine source, much the same thing happens. We become unplugged and run on our own limited reserves, which quickly leads to exhaustion and burnout. The problem for many of us is not that we work too hard. The real drain on our energy is emotional upheaval. It's the energy leaks. Fear, resentment, inner conflicts, and guilt are like holes in our spiritual battery. They cause a constant, unnecessary drain on our vital force. A physician once explained to me why a certain high-powered executive never seemed to burn out, despite his crushing workload. The reason, the doctor said, is that he's a thoroughly well-organized individual with no energy leaks. He's emotionally well-integrated. His religion provides him with a workable mechanism for preventing these leaks. He handles things with easy power because he isn't wasting an ounce of energy on inner turmoil. Think about that. How much of your precious energy is being wasted every day on stewing over a past hurt, nursing a grudge, or churning with anxiety about the future? These negative emotions set off chemical reactions in your body that are physically taxing. A fit of anger can cause your blood pressure to spike. A smoldering resentment can manifest as chronic aches and pains. These are not imaginary. They are real, physical consequences of a disconnected spiritual and emotional life. To tap into the boundless reservoir of energy, you must first plug the leaks. This requires a scrupulous self-analysis. Ask yourself honestly, am I harboring any ill will? Am I resentful of anyone? Do I carry any grudges? If so, you must cast them out. Forgiveness is not just a moral virtue, it is a prerequisite for high vitality. Resentment is a poison you drink, hoping the other person will die. It eats away at your energy and steals your joy. The act of forgiveness, of letting go, is like plugging a massive hole in your energy reserves. Once you begin to seal the leaks, you can then focus on strengthening your connection to the source. One of the most powerful ways to do this is to get your personal rhythm synchronized with God's rhythm. The pace of modern life is frantic, chaotic, and jarring. We rush from one thing to the next, our minds constantly stimulated, our bodies perpetually tense. This is not God's tempo. God moves with perfect, unhurried, imperturbable organization. The mills of God grind slowly, but they grind exceedingly fine. To find this rhythm, you must practice stillness. Go out into nature, lie down on the earth and listen. Hear the rustle of the wind, the murmur of insects, the song of a bird. You will discover a well-regulated tempo, a deep harmony. You can also find it in a place of worship, or even in a quiet room in your home. Allow yourself to relax physically. Then, conceive of your mind as also relaxing. Visualize your soul becoming quiet, and in that quietness, pray this simple prayer. Dear God, you are the source of all energy. I hereby draw energy from you as from an unlimited source. Practice believing that you are, in that very moment, receiving it. Another sure way to increase your energy is to lose yourself in something bigger than you are. People often feel tired simply because they are bored. Their world is too small, revolving only around their own little worries and desires. Get interested in something. Get absolutely enthralled in a cause, a project, a passion. Throw yourself into it with abandon. A famous statesman who gave 7 speeches in one day was asked why he wasn't tired. He replied, "I believe absolutely in everything I said. I'm enthusiastic about my convictions." When you are on fire for something, you don't lose energy, you generate it. So if you are feeling under par, don't just reach for another cup of coffee. Look deeper. First, conduct an energy audit. Find and plug the leaks of resentment, fear, and guilt. Second, consciously slow your pace and attune yourself to God's harmonious rhythm through stillness and prayer. And third, get on fire for something. Believe in it, pour yourself into it, and you will discover that you have access to an untapped reservoir of energy that will never, ever run dry. Chapter 7. The Fortress of Serenity. Finding peace in a world of noise. In our chaotic, hyper-connected world, a peaceful mind has become the ultimate luxury. We are bombarded by noise, notifications, and demands from the moment we wake until the moment we fall into an often restless sleep. We go to bed with an earful of trouble and wake up to a mind already racing. But inner peace is not a luxury. It is a necessity for physical health, emotional well-being, and effective living. The life of strain is difficult and depleting. The life of inner peace, being harmonious and without stress, is the easiest and most powerful type of existence. This peace is not something you must chase or earn. It is a gift, offered to all who are willing to cultivate the attitude and practice to receive it. Building this inner fortress of serenity requires a few key disciplines. The first, as we have discussed, is the practice of emptying the mind. I cannot overemphasize its importance. You must create a daily habit of mental catharsis, clearing your mind of the accumulated debris of fears, hates, insecurities, regrets, and guilt. But simply emptying the mind is not enough. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you do not refill it with something positive, the old, unhappy thoughts will creep back in. Therefore, the second discipline is to immediately refill the mind with creative and healthy thoughts. These happy thoughts will stand guard at the gates of your mind. A powerful way to do this is to practice thinking a carefully selected series of peaceful thoughts. At intervals during the day, let mental pictures of the most peaceful scenes you have ever witnessed pass across your mind. Perhaps it's a memory of a beautiful valley filled with the hush of evening, or the silvery light of the moon falling upon rippling waters, or the sea washing gently upon soft shores of sand. These serene images work upon your mind like a healing medicine, soothing its agitated state. Another powerful technique is to use the suggestive power of words. Words have a profound effect on our nervous system. Utter a series of panicky words, and your mind will immediately go into a state of nervousness. You will feel a sinking in the pit of your stomach. On the other hand, if you speak peaceful, quieting words, your mind will react in a peaceful manner. Practice repeating beautiful words out loud. Take a word like tranquility. Say it slowly, several times. Tranquility, tranquility. It is one of the most melodic of all English words, and the mere saying of it tends to induce a tranquil state. Or take a line from the Bible which has particularly strong therapeutic value. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Drop these words into your consciousness. Allow them to dissolve and spread a healing balm over your entire being. The third discipline is the daily practice of silence. Everyone should insist upon at least 15 minutes of absolute silence every single day. Go into the quietest place available. Sit or lie down. Do not talk. Do not write. Do not read. Think as little as possible. Conceive of your mind as the surface of a still lake and see how quiet you can make it, so that there is not even a ripple. When you achieve this quiescent state, begin to listen. Listen for the deeper sounds of harmony and beauty and of God that are to be found in the essence of silence. This is difficult in our noisy world. Research shows that we never truly adjust to noise. The roar of airplanes, the blare of horns, these strident sounds cause physical activity even during sleep, preventing us from getting true rest. The practice of silence, by contrast, is healing, soothing, and restorative. A woman I know, an executive named Clara, was a victim of self-punishment. Years earlier, she had made a terrible business decision that cost her company a great deal of money. Though she had been forgiven by her superiors, she had never forgiven herself. She was haunted by a sense of guilt and lived in constant apprehension that something bad was going to happen. To compensate, she became a workaholic, driven by a frantic need to prove her worth. She was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Her therapist suggested the practice of silence. She thought it was ridiculous. "I don't have time to sit and do nothing," she protested. But her exhaustion was so profound, she agreed to try. For 15 minutes each day, she would go into an unused office, close the door, and just sit. The first week was torture. Her mind raced with her to-do list, her anxieties, her guilt, but she persisted. In the second week, something began to shift. In the silence, she began to feel the depth of her self-inflicted pain. In the third week, in the stillness, a prayer formed in her mind, a genuine plea for forgiveness, not from others, but for herself. A wave of release washed over her. Tears flowed. In that quiet room, she finally let go of the guilt she had carried for so long. The silence had opened her up to the healing power of peace. Your inner peace is a fortress. To build it, you must practice these disciplines. Empty your mind of worry. Refill it with peaceful thoughts and images, and strengthen its walls with the daily practice of silence. In a world shouting for your attention, dare to be quiet. For in that quietness, you will find a power and a serenity that no amount of noise can ever overcome. Chapter 8. The Obstacle Illusion. Turning roadblocks into stepping stones. Life will present you with obstacles. This is not a possibility, it is a certainty. There will be challenges, difficulties, and moments where the path forward seems completely blocked. The critical question is not whether you will face obstacles, but how you will face them. Your attitude toward an obstacle is the key that will either lock you in defeat or open the door to victory. In any creative organization, you will often find a character I call the obstacle man. This is the person whose mind, no matter what idea is proposed, instantly latches onto all the possible problems, all the reasons it can't be done. They call it being realistic, but it is a thinly veiled pessimism that smothers innovation and drains the energy from a room. Their default attitude is one of defeat. Contrast this with the possibility man. When faced with the same set of challenges, his mind immediately begins to ask, how can we solve this? What is the way through? When asked what his attitude is toward obstacles, he gives a simple, powerful reply. I just remove them, that's all. And then I forget them. This is not a glib or naive response. It is the expression of a mind that has been trained to see obstacles not as permanent barriers, but as temporary problems awaiting a solution. Most of our obstacles are not as formidable as they appear. They are inflated by our fearful thoughts. They are mental in character. Yes, the external situation may be real, but your attitude toward it is a mental creation, and that attitude will largely determine what you do about it. Take the attitude that you cannot remove an obstacle, and you won't. You will prove yourself right every time. But the very moment you get the idea firmly fixed in your mind that the obstacle is removable, you inaugurate the process that will eventually lead to its removal. Consider Chloe, a young woman who launched an online fitness coaching business. For the first year, it was a soaring success. Then, a new, heavily funded competitor entered the market, offering similar services for a lower price. Chloe's sales plummeted. The obstacle seemed insurmountable. Her mind was filled with thoughts of defeat. It's over. I can't compete with them. I'll have to shut down. She was becoming an obstacle woman in her own life. Feeling desperate, she spoke with a mentor, an older, wiser businessman. He listened to her tale of woe and then asked a simple question. What unique value do you offer that they don't? Chloe was so focused on the obstacle, the competitor, that she hadn't considered the possibilities. She thought about it. Her competitor was a large, impersonal platform. Chloe offered personalized coaching, genuine connection, and a supportive community. That was her unique value. Her attitude shifted. The obstacle didn't disappear, but it no longer looked like an immovable wall. It looked like a challenge. She stopped thinking, I can't compete, and started thinking, how can I highlight my unique strengths? She revamped her marketing to emphasize the personal touch. She started hosting live Q&A sessions for her members. She built a thriving online community. Not only did her business survive, but it became stronger, with a more loyal customer base than ever before. She didn't go around the obstacle. She used it as a stepping stone to become better. So how do you cultivate this obstacle-removing mindset? First, stop building up obstacles in your imagination. See problems for what they are. and never inflate them with fearful thoughts. Refuse to give them more power than they deserve. Second, eliminate the little negatives from your speech and thought. Phrases like, "I don't think I can do that," or "I knew this would happen," are small but potent affirmations of defeat. They are the acorns from which mighty oaks of failure grow. Root them out. When you keep asserting that things will work out well, that you can do the job, you invoke a law of positive effects. Third, arm yourself with a power formula. Find a statement of faith that resonates with you and make it your positive obsession. The man in the meeting used, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This single thought, held with conviction, can give you the spiritual and mental muscle to push through any difficulty. Write it down. Put it where you will see it constantly. Let its truth permeate your being. Fourth, when faced with a mountain, don't try to move the whole range at once. As the Bible wisely suggests, "Ye shall say unto this mountain." Be specific. Break down your overwhelming problem into smaller, manageable parts. Attack one piece at a time. A victory over a small part of the problem will give you the confidence and momentum to tackle the next. And finally, remember that you are not alone in this effort. A wise old man, when asked how he overcame the many difficulties of his life, replied, "First, I try to go around it. If I can't go around it, I try to get under it. If I can't get under it, I try to go over it. And if I can't do any of that, I just plow right through it." Then he added the most important part. God and I plow right through it together. The next time you face a roadblock, an obstacle that seems to defy all your efforts, I want you to stand firm. Don't whine or complain. Don't shrink from it. Stand up to it. Look it square in the eye and declare, with faith, "This obstacle is an illusion. It is temporary. With God's help, I will find a way through." Something has to break, and it won't be you. It will be the obstacle. Chapter 9. The Happiness Habit. Choosing your emotional state. In the grand pursuit of life, what is it that we all seek? Wealth, success, recognition. Beneath all these desires lies a more fundamental one, the desire for happiness. Yet for all our striving, it remains mysteriously elusive for so many. We chase it in accomplishments, in possessions, in other people, only to find it a fleeting visitor. The profound secret is this: happiness is not a destination to be reached. It is a state of mind to be cultivated. It is a choice you make every single day. The great Abraham Lincoln, a man who knew profound sorrow, once said that people were just about as happy as they made their minds up to be. This is a revolutionary idea. It snatches power away from our circumstances and places it squarely back into our own hands. You can choose to be unhappy. It is perhaps the easiest choice in the world. Just go around telling yourself that things are not going well, that you are a victim of circumstance, that others have it better than you. Saturate your mind with resentment, fear, and worry, and I can guarantee you will be miserable. But you can also choose to be happy. You can say to yourself, "Life is good. I have blessings to count. I choose happiness." And you can be quite sure of having your choice. Children are masters of this. An adult who can carry the spirit of a child into middle and old age is a kind of genius, for they have preserved the happy spirit with which we are all born. A child finds joy in the simple, sublime elements of the universe. The way streetlights reflect on a river, the feel of red velvet, the sight of a swallow in flight. To become a happy person, you must reawaken the child within you. You must have eyes that see romance in the commonplace, a heart that is open and uncluttered, and a spirit of simple faith. Unhappiness is manufactured in the factory of our own minds. So how do we retool this factory to produce happiness instead? We must cultivate the happiness habit. The first step is to practice happy thinking. Make a mental list of pleasant thoughts and memories. Several times a day, deliberately pass them through your mind. Savor their joy. If an unpleasant or unhappy thought should enter your mind, do not fight it. Simply stop, consciously reject it, and substitute one of your pleasant thoughts. This is a discipline, and it requires practice, but it is a discipline that will change your emotional life. The second step is to start your day with a happiness affirmation. The first moments of your day set the emotional tone for the hours that follow. Before you even get out of bed, try this. Say out loud 3 times this one powerful sentence from the Psalms. This is the day which the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Say it with a strong, clear, positive voice. While you are dressing or preparing breakfast, add a few more. I believe this is going to be a wonderful day. I believe I can successfully handle all the problems that will arise. I am grateful for all that I have and all that is coming. You are pre-paving your day with positive expectation. The third, and perhaps most powerful principle for happy living is the practice of human love and goodwill. The surest way to be unhappy is to be self-centered. The surest way to find happiness is to lose yourself in service to others. I think of the story of Ralston Young, the man known as Red Cap Number 42 in New York's Grand Central Station. His job was carrying bags, but his real work was spreading love and encouragement. When he saw an elderly woman in a wheelchair crying, he didn't ignore her. He felt a compassionate impulse. He complimented her on her pretty hat and her dress. Her spirits lifted immediately. She told him she was in constant pain. He shared his own story of pain and how prayer helped him overcome it, not by always taking the pain away, but by giving him the strength to bear it. In that brief encounter, he transformed her day. He gave a piece of himself away, and in doing so, he undoubtedly increased his own store of happiness. Where love is, God is, and where God and love are, there is happiness. We often think that to be happy, our lives must be free from pain, suffering, or difficulty. But this is a misconception. Happiness is not the absence of problems. It is the ability to deal with them with a peaceful heart and a spirit of faith. The people who have found a living, vital, spiritual reality in their lives are often the most joyous people you will ever meet. They laugh easily. They are light-hearted. Not because their lives are perfect, but because they have found a source of strength and joy that is independent of their external circumstances. They have the Spirit in their hearts. So you have a choice. Right now. You can continue to allow your happiness to be dictated by the weather, the news, or the moods of other people. Or you can decide to take control. You can make up your mind to be happy. Practice happy thinking. Start your day with positive affirmations. And most importantly, go out and spread some love and goodwill in the world. Give of yourself. You will find that the more happiness you give away, the more will come flooding back to you. It is a divine and wonderful law. Chapter 10. The Magnetic Personality. The art of connecting with others. One of the deepest drives of human nature is the desire to be appreciated, to be liked, to feel wanted and needed. The feeling of isolation, of not being wanted, is one of the most devastating of all human emotions. It is a sad truth that many people suffer from this sense of isolation, feeling like they are on the outside looking in. Many people who deliberately strive to be popular often fail. They try too hard, putting on an act, and the effort comes across as artificial. True popularity, the kind that creates a magnetic personality, is not something you seek for its own sake. It is the natural byproduct of a certain way of being. It comes from an inner confidence and a genuine, sincere interest in and love for other people. Before we explore how to cultivate this, let us accept a realistic truth. No matter how wonderful you are, you will not be liked by everyone. There is a curious quirk in human nature where certain personalities simply do not click. The Bible itself acknowledges this when it says, "If it be possible as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men." That little phrase, "if it be possible," is a recognition of this reality. So do your best, but if you don't achieve perfect popularity with everyone, don't let it torment you. With that said, there are certain practices that can transform you into a person that others genuinely like to be with. The first suggestion is to become a comfortable type of person. Be someone with whom others can be easy and relaxed. Some people maintain a stiff barrier around themselves. It's a strain to be with them. They are easily offended, unresponsive, and you never quite know how they will react. A comfortable person, on the other hand, is easygoing and natural. They have a pleasant, kindly, genial way about them. Being with them is like wearing a favorite old sweater. It just feels good. This quality often comes from having a big soul, from not being overly concerned with your own place or position. The second, and most critical trait, is to develop a sincere and forthright interest in other people. If you are having trouble with your relationships, the problem may not be with others. It may be within yourself. It often stems from an excessive self-centeredness. Consider the young man who was so baffled by his failure with people. He was trying to follow all the rules of getting along, but people still didn't like him. The reason was that his every action was unconsciously measured by how it made him look. He was so focused on himself that he had no real energy or attention left for others. He was trying to make everyone over to suit himself, and people unconsciously sensed this and erected barriers against him. The cure for him was a complete reversal of his habits. He had to be taught how to love other people and forget himself. He was given a simple practice. Every night, he was to make a list of the people he had encountered that day. The bus driver, the barista, a colleague. He was to mentally picture each person and think a kindly thought about them, and then say a small prayer for their well-being. This practice worked a miracle. He began to see the elevator operator in his building not as a mechanical robot, but as an interesting human being with a family and fascinating experiences. He began to ask questions and listen. He started to genuinely like the elevator operator, and in turn, the operator began to like him. He extended this practice to everyone in his daily world. He eventually declared, "I've found that the world is filled with interesting people, and I never realized it before." When he made that observation, he proved he was losing himself, and as the Bible so wisely tells us, in losing himself, he found himself, and lots of new friends besides. The third way to become a magnetic personality is to practice building up the ego of other people. Everyone has a normal and healthy desire for feelings of self-importance and worth. When you deflate someone's ego, even with a small, critical remark, you wound them. But when you elevate their self-respect, when you contribute to their feeling of personal worth, you show high esteem for them. You have helped them to be their best self. In return, they will appreciate you. They will be grateful. They will like you for it. Build up as many people as you can, but do it sincerely and unselfishly. Don't use flattery as a tool of manipulation. Do it because you genuinely like them and recognize their potential. Congratulate them on their achievements. Express sincere sympathy in their sorrows. Remember their name. A person's name is the sweetest sound in any language to that person. So here are the keys to unlocking that magnetic quality within you. 1. Become a comfortable, easygoing person. 2. Get the scratchy, egotistical elements out of your personality by genuinely focusing on others. Practice praying for people. And 3. Build people up. Help them feel important and valued. If you do these things, affection and esteem will flow back to you. Best of all, you will never be lonely, for you will be too busy enriching the lives of others. You will give strength to people, and they will give their affection to you. Chapter 11. The Engine of Faith. Prayer as a dynamic force. For many, the concept of prayer is shrouded in mystery or relegated to moments of desperation. It is often seen as a passive act of wishing, a last resort when all else fails. But this is a profound misunderstanding. Prayer, when practiced correctly, is not passive. It is one of the most dynamic and creative forces in the universe. It is a practical, workable technique for solving problems, gaining guidance, and releasing spiritual energy. I believe that prayer is the act of sending out vibrations from one person to another and to God. The entire universe is in vibration. When you send out a prayer for another person, you are not just thinking nice thoughts. You are activating the forces of a spiritual universe. You are transmitting from yourself a powerful and sympathetic understanding, a sense of love, help, and support. In this process, you awaken creative vibrations through which God brings to pass the good things you pray for. Prayer power is a manifestation of real energy. Just as there are scientific techniques for the release of atomic energy, so there are spiritual procedures for the release of spiritual energy through prayer. It is a skill, and like any skill, it can be studied and practiced to be perfected. A successful businessman I know worked out his own 3-step formula for solving problems through prayer. He called it priorize, picturize, actualize. First, priorize. This meant a daily system of creative prayer. When a problem arose, he talked it over with God simply and directly, not as some vast, far-off being, but as a partner and close associate always nearby. He took seriously the biblical injunction to pray without ceasing, interpreting it to mean that he should go about his day discussing everything with God in a natural manner. What should I do about this, Lord? Give me a fresh insight on this, Heavenly Father. He filled his daily life with prayer, effectively making God his senior partner in all his affairs. Second, picturize. This is the visualization technique we have already discussed, but with prayer as its foundation. After talking the problem over with God and testing it according to God's will, he would then print a clear picture of the successful outcome on his mind. He held that image firmly in consciousness, continuing to check it against God's will. This is a crucial step. It aligns the power of visualization with divine guidance, ensuring the goal is a righteous one. Third, actualize. With the problem prioritized and the solution picturized, he would then work hard and intelligently, doing his part to achieve success. He practiced believing, continued to hold the picture firmly in his thoughts, and left the results confidently to God. He reported that he was constantly astonished at the ways in which his visualized prayers came to pass, often in unexpected and wonderful ways. This demonstrates that prayer is not about asking God to do everything for you. It is a partnership. You pray, you visualize, and you work, trusting that a higher power is working with you and through you. A woman whose marriage was drifting apart used this same principle. She discovered her husband was interested in another woman. After consulting her minister, she realized her own part in the problem. She had become self-centered and nagging. She began a new practice. Instead of nagging him, she began to pray for him. Night after night, while he was out, she would sit at home and picturize him back in his old chair, comfortably reading as he used to. She visualized them playing golf together again, hiking as they once did. She maintained this picture with steady faith and prayer. And one night, there he was, sitting in his old chair. The picture had become reality. Her prayerful visualization had changed her own attitude, which in turn changed the atmosphere in their home, making it possible for him to return. To make your own prayers more effective, here are a few suggestions. First, set aside a few minutes each day for quiet. Don't say anything. Simply practice thinking about God. This makes your mind spiritually receptive. Second, pray out loud sometimes, using simple, natural words. Tell God whatever is on your mind. Talk to Him in your own language. Third, don't always ask for something. Spend most of your prayer time affirming that God's blessings are already being given to you and offering thanks. Gratitude is a powerful spiritual magnet. Fourth, always express a willingness to accept God's will. Ask for what you want, but be open to receiving what God gives you. It may be better than what you asked for. And finally, pray for people you do not like or who have mistreated you. Resentment is the primary obstacle to spiritual power. Praying for them doesn't necessarily change them, but it will absolutely change you. It will dissolve the blockage of bitterness in your own heart, allowing God's power to flow freely through you once again. Prayer is the engine of a faith-filled life. It is the mechanism by which you connect your small, finite self to the infinite power of the universe. Practice it, experiment with it, and you will find that it is the most tremendous power in the world. Chapter 12. Expect the best. The final law of attraction and action. We have journeyed through the vast landscape of the mind, exploring the power of our thoughts, the methods for conquering doubt, the magic of visualization, and the dynamic force of prayer. Now we arrive at the culmination of all these principles, a final law that ties everything together and launches you into a life of achievement. You must learn to expect the best. The world has a deep tendency to give you what you profoundly expect from it. This is not wishful thinking. It is a psychological and spiritual law. Your expectation is the magnetic force that draws conditions, people, and opportunities into your life. If you expect the worst, you will subconsciously look for evidence of the worst. You will interpret neutral events negatively. You will act in hesitant, fearful ways that often precipitate the very outcomes you dread. Your mind, seeking to prove itself right, will create the conditions of failure. But if you expect the best, your entire being shifts. You start looking for opportunities. You interpret challenges as temporary setbacks. You act with a confidence that inspires trust and invites success. Your mind, again seeking to prove itself right, will magnetize your condition and draw to itself the creative powers of the universe. To get the best, however, you must first know what your best is. Many people get nowhere simply because they have no clear-cut, precisely defined purpose. They want to go somewhere else, but they have no destination in mind. You cannot expect the best if you are thinking aimlessly. I once consulted with a young man who was deeply dissatisfied with his life. I asked him, "Where do you want to go?" He didn't know. "What can you do best?" He didn't know. "What would you really love to do?" He had never thought about it. He was like a ship without a rudder, drifting on the ocean of life, hoping to accidentally wash up on the shores of a tropical paradise. It doesn't work that way. The first step in expecting the best is to decide what your best is. Be sure it is a sound, worthy objective. Then, photograph this goal on your mind. Make it crystal clear. Hold it there. Work hard towards it, believe in it, and expect it to happen. The thought will become so powerful that it will tend to assure its own success. But what if things go wrong? What if you face setbacks? This is where true expectation is tested. Expecting the best does not mean a naive belief that life will be without difficulties. It means expecting that you have the power to overcome those difficulties. It means believing that even in a setback, there is a lesson or an opportunity. It is an unshakable faith in the ultimate positive outcome, regardless of the temporary turbulence. A salesman's father learned this lesson in a powerful way. He was a man who was always whistling in the dark, tense and afraid, changing his line of goods every year, always hoping the next thing would be it. He hoped for the best, but he expected the worst. Then, a fellow salesman gave him a little 3-sentence prayer to say before each sales call, "I believe I am always divinely guided. I believe I will always take the right turn in the road. I believe God will always make a way where there is no way." This was not a magic incantation. It was a tool for changing his expectation. By repeating these words with faith, he shifted his core belief from "this will probably fail" to "I expect to be guided to success." The results were miraculous. His sales skyrocketed. He was the same man, selling to the same kinds of people, but his expectation had been transformed, and his results followed suit. So, let this be your daily practice. At least 10 times every day, repeat this affirmation to yourself. I expect the best, and with God's help, I will attain the best. Let this thought saturate your subconscious mind. Never mention the worst. Never think of it. Drop it out of your consciousness. Whatever you take into your mind can grow there, so take in only the best. Nurture it. Concentrate on it. Visualize it. Pray for it. Surround it with faith. Reach out creatively towards your heart's desire with your entire personality. If you do this with all your heart, your reach will not be in vain. Life cannot deny itself to the person who gives life their all and who expects the best in return. You have been given a formula of belief and practice that can lead you to victory over every defeat. But listening is not enough. You must now go and practice these techniques. Apply them. They will work for you as they have for countless others. Believe and live successfully. Conclusion. You stand today at a crossroads. Behind you lies the life that was built by old patterns of thought. Before you lies an open field of infinite possibility. The architect is you. The blueprint is your mind. The journey we have taken together is not about adding something new to you, but about awakening the inherent power that has always been your birthright. It is the power to choose your thoughts, to direct your focus, and to co-create your reality with a force greater than yourself. This is the great secret of a successful and joy-filled life. You have the tools. You have the knowledge. The only remaining ingredient is your decision to use them. Your life is a sacred trust, a magnificent gift. Claim the power that is yours and build a masterpiece.